Good morning and welcome to another episode of Random Guy number 6. Today we are finally going to be painting everything on the cabinets. The inside, the outside. There's a ton of stuff that we got to fix on these. If you can see that the last person that actually painted them didn't sand everything down, so the paint comes off really easy with a fingernail. So we're going to have to sand these all down, get them all to a point where they can actually take the paint and hold the paint. And I'm going to pull these drawers out, pull the doors off, and I'm going to make a tent because I'm going to be making a huge mess in here today. So let's get started. Well, as you can see today, I'm a bubble boy. We put up this enclosure to keep all of the sand and dust and everything just confined to this space. We don't want it blowing all the rest of the house and getting into all the filters and everything. And we're going to be making a huge mess. So basically we're going to take and sand the face of these cabinets, anything that's outside where they painted over and didn't prime, and it's going to peel off super easily. So I'm just going to take it back, do it the right way, prime it, and we're actually going to be painting the insides of the cabinets too, so everything is going to match. We've also got these lower cabinets down here. We're going to peel up this peel and stick stuff and just give everything a fresh coat of paint and make it look nice. So I'm going to go ahead and get to sanding, and once I'm done with the sanding, we'll take a little short break, and I'll kind of show you what to do on the seams. We've got these holes everywhere and all these imperfections that are going to need to be fixed and cleaned up before we actually start putting paint and stuff like that on. So the first thing we're going to start with is taking this nasty paper stuff off of here, and luckily whoever makes this stuff did a pretty good job at knowing that it was going to get ripped off. So most of the time you can get it all off in one piece, but it's really not that difficult. Got to give it a little bit of force. as you can see now, I have everything sanded and vacuumed, and it is pretty much ready and prepped for me to fill all these holes, fill the cracks, and then throw a coat of primer on it. So what I'm going to be using to fill the holes is this Ready Patch. It dries in about 30 minutes, dries extremely hard. We can sand it smooth, so basically all of the holes and everything will just completely disappear. So let's get into it. Okay, now as you can see, we have our Ready Patch. I like to use these plastic putty knives. They just make it a little bit easier. Pretty much we just grab a little, squeeze it in there nice and heavy. Doesn't matter if you go over a little bit because we're going to sand it back, get it smooth. You know, you got bigger holes. It's just going to give you a little bit more of a finished look. Hide all the places where it's mounted to the wall. We're going to do all the ones inside the cabinets. Those are all hidden too. And then these gaps here, we'll just fill that with caulk. Now as you can see, I got all of the holes patched inside and outside of the cabinet. Now before we do the caulking on these seams, I need to address these gaps in the wall. So basically I'm just going to cut a piece, I'm going to fit it in there and screw it tight so that will be flush with the wall on the upper and the lower. And then on the center of these cabinets, the doors are only going to overhang 1.5 inches. So I need to put a strip here, I need to put another strip here so that all of the doors look completely flush. And that goes the same for the bottom. And I also need to do a strip next to the dishwasher there, and that'll actually end up looking more flush as well once everything is all said and done. So I'm going to go ahead and go cut some pieces. Boards are all cut. Now let me go show you what they're for. So this first board kind of goes in here like this. We'll put that up flush. I'm going to screw some nails in from the side and get that to attach there. Now on top of that board is going to be this one. Now the reason we're doing that is our door is going to mount here, and this is going to give us a seamless look all the way across, just doors, without this ugly gap there. Now, in addition to that, we're going to have to, on this side, put one here, and put one here, So we have the same type of reveal in this corner. So we'll have to attach those, do a couple down there, one over there, slap a piece on there, and then we can prime. As you can see now, I've got the corners installed with their reveal. Got those corners done, that corner done, got that plate on, and this nice little one over here in the corner. The next thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and grab some more of this Ready Patch and smooth it in here, just on the edges of these, so this looks like it's flat and flush. Otherwise you'll see all of the indents and holes and stuff in these cracks. And I'll finally take the caulk and put it inside these gaps, just in between these few cabinets up top and in the corners. So as you can see now, everything is sanded and ready for primer all the way around. The only thing left is I have one little issue that needs to be resolved, and everything should line up pretty good. So between the old cabinet and the new cabinet, you can see they're a little bit different. So all I'm gonna need to do is just cut that little rip off, make sure they line up, and then when I install the drawers, you can see these ones aren't exactly lined up either, so I might have to play with the lines a little bit to get everything to match up. But that'll be for another video. So let's get to cutting. Everything is all sanded, painted, vacuumed, and ready for paint. So first thing we want to do is mix up our paint. Grab one of these, put it in there, and you're just going to want to mix it up so it's nice and even color. Now if you have like lumps or chunks or anything like that in there, what you're going to want to do is strain it, because you don't want to be picking stuff out of the paint as you go. And basically you can buy a paint strainer, or if you or your wife have any pantyhose, those work really well too. I don't need to use those obviously, because I kept my paint clean for once. Now that we got our paint in the bucket and ready to go, let's talk rollers. So if you were with me on my last painting video when I did these cabinets, I used a weenie roller because these cabinets were brand new. They had very minor imperfections, but the problem is these cabinets have a lot of imperfections. So what I'm trying to do by using a thicker nap roller is to give the paint a little bit of a texture, and in doing that it will hide those imperfections. So get yourself, this one I think is a 3/8. It might be a little bit thick. You can get by with a 1/4 inch. But I just want to make sure that I can do this in the least amount of coats possible. So next things next, as always, you're going to want to get any of the excess lint or dirt or dust or anything out of your roller. And just grab some tape. Give it a few of those. Maybe a few more. You can never do it too much, trust me. And we're pretty much ready to go. first things first, if you're painting anything up against the wall, the first thing you're going to want to do is take a little bit of masking tape. If you got a little gap, try and slide it up under there. This will save you some headaches. Plus you can be a little bit more sloppier with your paint. Always put a little bit extra at the bottom. Just so if you flick your brush out, you don't gotta worry, you know, maybe even two. You never put too much masking. Better to have too much rather than not enough. That much I can promise you. Okay, that one's there. Easy peasy. Now for some actual painting. Get your roller nice and soaked up, and then try and get a lot of it off. You want it kind of even, so that's what the front of this is for. So you can put it on and then roll it around on the roller and get it really even. Once you think you kind of got it good, now we can dip the brush in there. You want to do your edges first. And this one will do this edge. Now you're going to get some paint on the cabinet already. If you just really lightly just kind of feather it out, it'll disappear once we do the final coat. Now that we got some paint here, now we can just give it a nice little roll. And there you go. And you can see the texture that's going to give it. So it's going to be a little bit of an orange peel kind of texture. As I said, that's going to hide all of the imperfections that are in this stuff. These nasty spots and these kind of things. It should. And we'll just, let me just paint a little bit for you. We'll see how well it hides. How about that? We are going to prime the inside corners here too. The bulk of this, all you really need to do is do a little bit like that, a little bit like that. We are painting the insides of these cabinets, so if you get primer on them, it's fine. If you get gobs, just kind of flick them out a little bit. Same here, kind of flick it out a little bit. Okay, now you can see all the stuff that is just disappearing like it never existed. Now you can see I'm going to hit the old stuff, which is fine, and I'm just lightly going over the edge to kind of feather this edge out so you don't have any hard edges when we start getting this all to match together. Since obviously the white stuff is already primed, it doesn't need it, so fun one. Here, this just takes a little bit of skill. If you use the very tip of your brush, you can kind of push it down and kind of flick it back. If you see it start to bunch up like that, pick it up, start again. You don't want a bunch of paint at the bottom. You want it to just glide right along the bottom edge. One thing I did forget to talk about is your brush. So you do want something with an angled tip. This is an 1.5 inch trim brush, and when you're dealing with corners and stuff like this, you can really, if you go to the side, you can kind of point that tip up there. Get it right up in there, real slow. So you gotta kind of have a little bit of a steady hand, but I have no doubt you'll get it. So let's see, now let me just really mess up just to show you what happens. So blob, okay. So I just got a bunch of paint all over, right? Well, it's an easy fix. So if you have a putty knife, let me go grab one here. I misplaced my putty knife, so I'm going to improvise with this razor blade. So basically just set it on there, wrap it around the tip. Once you have it on the tip, you can literally get right in there and just very gently wipe the paint away. Obviously I got a little more to do up here, but you get the point. As you can see now, I've got everything primed, so all we have left to do is paint. Painting, we're going to do basically the exact same thing as I showed you with the primer. And first thing we want to do is these holes that we patched up. I'm just going to take a roller over the top of them and give them a quick coat, just so we can, so they'll hide a little bit better. Just going to go around and hit all the ones around everything. And then once we start painting, basically all we need to do is just like before. And I'm going to do the inside of the cabinet, so we'll basically box this out. And then roll the center and basically do that on every surface and every single cabinet. Except for that one. That one's all drawers, so we don't need to do nothing inside that because you'll never see it. Now that everything is all painted, the last thing we need to do is pull the masking tape off. Now the best way to do it is to take a small skinny razor blade as best you can, especially if you've had the tape on for a few days and it's all dry. Even if it's just dry, it's always a good idea to just kind of cut the edge. So if you have anywhere where the paint is stuck and you have a gob kind of in between, you can just take this super thin knife, just slice it right down the edge there. Got big chunks or something on there, you can cut that off a little bit. Just be careful. This way when you do pull the tape, you get a nice clean edge. Now let's say you pull your tape and on the floor you got one little piece that's stuck, or you have something that's not quite perfectly straight. If you just take your razor blade real lightly, you can get that stuff that's on the edge to make that look good. And this stuff, I have to cut it because that's actually tape still. I just didn't cut it very well when I just be real careful. Then you can kind of clean up that whole edge. You just very lightly scrape with the very tip. And there you go. Well, that's going to be it for today's episode of Random Guy number 6. As you can see, all of the cabinets are painted all the way around. And in the next episode, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be making all new doors on a budget. So if you're looking to give your kitchen a modern look, but don't want to break the bank, watch out for that one. I'll also be installing a quick kick plate when I do those doors. So I'm going to go put my feet up, relax, and see you soon.